Welcome back to the Hocicona Hour. Today, I'm going to be interviewing Drago Nesa, a performer, aerilist, acrobat, producer, and creative force behind so many different corners of the Bay Area performance world. They are the owner of Sky High Auditorium, which is an aerial school in Richmond, California, head dragon in charge of the Dragonettes, and an organizer behind Dark Events' regular show at Fluid 510 in Oakland. But honestly, this list only scratches the surface. So instead, I'm going to let them take you from here. What follows is my conversation and interview with Drago Nesa.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so could you give me, just introduce yourself and give me a big picture overview of your journey from where you started to your schooling and training to now becoming the owner of Sky High Auditorium?
Yeah, totally. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast today. I'm Drago Nesa. And I am the owner and founder of a local company. It's called Sky High Auditorium. The company has actually a couple different branches to it. It began as just one company, Sky High, with all the different branches under that branch. But now I have basically fragmented it to include Sky High, the aerial school, Dark Events, which is a seasonal variety show, the Dragonettes, which is my in-house performance group, and Auditorium Entertainment, which is my booking company. So basically, I run a company that's a mix of entertainment, education, and production here in the Bay Area for 14 years now. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes, that's
so amazing. I mean, can we hear a little bit about what got you started? What brought you to Sky High? Even your early career?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that I was a competitive gymnast when I was growing up. I got recruited to my local gymnastics team at age 6, but I got brought in from gymboree class at age 2 because I had these really big leg muscles. And I loved gymnastics. I did competitive gymnastics until I was about 14. And at that time, I was always curious because it was clear to me that that was a natural skill set of mine, something that I just excelled in. And I had just thought that, that was it for me. The only future that I saw at a young age was doing stunt work.
Oh, really? That is
Yeah.
so funny you brought that up because I just interviewed a couple people, a couple stunt performers. So that's so funny you mentioned that.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, out in Richmond too, funny enough.
Oh, that's wild.
Did you ever dabble in stunt work?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Are they at that new gymnasium?
Action Arts?
Yeah.
Yes.
So they're friends with one of my performer friends.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I haven't met them yet, but I've seen videos of their space.
Yeah, they're awesome. The space is super, super welcoming. But yeah, that's so funny.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was my only pathway in life. But the thing with gymnastics was that I saw it as more than just physical. There was the whole mental game and the community that surrounded it, And so I wasn't that interested in doing stunt work. And so basically it all turned around for me when I moved back to New York, which is where I'm from, in 2008. I had been living in Taiwan for 2.5 years after I graduated college. While I was over there, I had been a fire performer. I was fire performing, which I'll get into later. And so when I was coming back to New York, I was going back to New York to get my master's degree in education, which I can also go into a little bit more later. But I was looking for a performance community. Mm-hmm. And so I came across this space called the House of Yes, which is now a giant nightclub. But I don't know if you've heard of it.
No, I haven't. Where is it?
It's in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, okay. I might have. That's kind of sounding familiar now. Yeah.
So basically, House of Yes started off with these 2 girls, and they were performers, entertainers, and they started a little company that then turned into a community space that then turned into a bigger warehouse space. Mm-hmm. And that's when I came in 2008. And they were aerialists.
Okay.
Yeah. And I had been fire performing and like kind of doing some various gigs, some bigger gigs, which I'll also get into later. And I was looking for a community, you know, I was looking for a place. And just to backtrack, while I was online, when I was living in Taiwan, I had been like Googling, you know, performance communities in New York. And I had found House of Yes, along with like a couple performers there that had websites. And so I started to connect with them and get involved. And at the same time, they were building an aerial school inside of their space. I had another artist friend that was trying to create a show that he had cast me and one of the founders of that aerial space, Jordan Baker, to be in that show together. He wanted us to tell the story of Arachne and Athena.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so he wanted her to be Arachne and me to be Athena because I was doing this like yoga. I had basically created this fusion of yoga and belly dance that I called tribal yoga dance. And I was like trying to push that as a class. And so he connected us and I started doing some belly dance lessons with her. She wanted to pay me, but I thought it would be better if we just traded.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Bartering services. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I started taking her, she was teaching silks. I had already taken an intro series at a local circus school. And I took her class, I started taking her class. And basically, I actually really didn't like silks when I started. It was really hard for me, not in terms of strength or flexibility, but in terms of the movements, like the directional process of it. Because with gymnastics, you're kind of using your own body. And yeah, you do use bars and beam, but they're stationary.
Right. Yeah. Versus when silks, they're constantly moving and moving in different places. Like from what we saw the other day from your class, which we'll cut like one of the clips in right now.
Nice.
But like a lot of the time, like you'll model it and then everything will move naturally. Because of course you make it look, you've probably done it, you know, a lot of times. You make it look very smooth. But once your students try it, it's like the silks have a mind of their own. And it's about, I mean, it seems like it's about understanding how it moves with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's that is a big part of it. And so it goes even beyond proprioception, beyond awareness of your body. You need to be aware of your body and the apparatus and where it's moving. And when I first started, I was like, this was completely new to me. And so I struggled quite a bit. But what really inspired me was the business of it all.
Interesting.
I saw my aerial teacher at Jordan and I saw what she was doing. Like, and I was just like, I really am very inspired right now. I really want to do this. Because, you know, she would wake up, go train at the school that she built. And then during the day, she'd have a bunch of like awesome ladies mostly come in. She'd teach them really cool stuff with their bodies. They would have their own community. They'd do open gyms. They'd have classes. And then on the weekends, she'd get to be part of all these like fun projects.
Right. Like essentially like living the life, essentially having every little bit like fulfilled, like having your classes, but also having other buckets filled as well. Yeah.
Totally. So I just saw what she was doing. And then meanwhile, you know, I was fire performing in the community. So I was already kind of like in
adjacent.
There. Yeah. Or I was like in the performance scene and like, you know, I had done a couple shows with the House of Yes doing fire. But it was just like, you know, weekend things. Okay, I'm going to do this. There was some fire jams and like some community share around that. But I just saw what she was doing and I saw that it was a viable business because of the novelty of aerial and the fact that at that time, back in 2008, it was not mainstream at all. I mean, aerial didn't really become mainstream until silks came into the picture. So just kind of a brief history on that. Silks, aerial silks, the apparatus that you came and you saw in my class, weren't even created until 1981.
Oh, wow.
They were created by this woman named Fred Deb, who lives in Europe. She's either French or Italian. I don't remember right now. I think French. And she created that fabric.
Oh, wow.
In 1981 or 82 or around that time. And at first was just experimenting with it with her and her community. And so silks didn't really hit the mainstream until the late 90s, early 2000s. And what they did, in my opinion, is that they created a recreational circus activity. Because traditionally, aerial apparatus in circus is flying trapeze, you know, a lot of high flying equipment, lyra all the way in the air. I mean, if you look back at circus back in the 1800s, people were doing some really crazy stuff. They had the rope, the single rope, but that was primarily being used as a Spanish web where somebody gets all the way to the top, puts their hand, neck, foot in a loop and gets spun. What silks did was they created this floor to air transition. And there's just a lot. At that time, the vocabulary was not super well developed, you know, because it was literally just coming into play.
Right. We're talking about 2008. So this was 8 years before it really started hitting mainstream, if that.
Yes.
You know, and so like a lot of the pioneers that were pioneering silks were, you know, going at it as they, you know, coming up with it as they went, it seems.
Yes, exactly. And a lot of them, as they were coming up with it, they weren't just teachers, they were also performers. So they were, you know, creating things to perform and then probably teaching that in classes. That's how I started, you know, too. And you know, there were some resources that were out there. Like I remember downloading a PDF.
Oh, wow.
Of like some silks moves. And now looking back at that and just reflecting on that, I'm like, wow, like this is what I downloaded as a beginner PDF. Like, there's no way my beginners could
have like, you know, taken it apart or read a PDF and been able to perform that move. Right. Because we're so like accustomed to teachers showing us the basics. And like, I couldn't imagine like doing something like I think about it like origami, like having like an origami book is so much harder than seeing like a video or of somebody doing it.
Absolutely. And also aerial demands this physicality like none other, especially something like silks where you're just like, you are the stone, you are the rock, you know? And so the level of strength and coordination and awareness that you need to have in your body to do it well is very high, you know? So I felt like, you know, in the earlier days, there was a lot less information about the muscles that you need, how to activate them, how to build them. Whereas as the field grew and expanded, physical therapists came into it, like scientists, you know, athletes. Like there's been a huge development like over time there.
Yeah. I mean, I noticed that even in your classes when you were giving direction, you say things like, oh, you should feel this in this part of your leg. And it's like, okay, that as a student, hearing that, you'd be able to understand, okay, I'm not feeling this in my leg. I'm probably not doing it right. And so I think, and that sort of thing, you wouldn't necessarily get from a PDF now, would you?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. That is absolutely correct. Yeah, I really do try. That's something that for me as a teacher is really important, is understanding not just directional cues, not just movement cues, but intramuscular cues, intraskeletal cues, like, you know, what I mentioned, the proprioception, the awareness of your body in space and how it's moving. Like that's something that I think is very important.
Absolutely. So when did your master's in education come into play?
So basically when I went to college, my parents are both, my parents are my mother's first generation. My father is a second generation American. They came over with their families and, you know, their parents basically like stressed to them that their way of creating a better life for themselves. And one of the reasons why they came over to this country was through education. So my parents are both, they're both amazing people. They're very academic and also they're giant dorks. They're massive dorks. They're amazing humans, but they really stressed education to me. They were like, education is very important. It was a high priority. Growing up, my parents both work jobs and they would just save all their money for our education. Yeah. And also travel too. They thought that was important. And so I went to college. There was no question.
It wasn't about when, it wasn't about if, it's where.
It's where. Yeah. Exactly. It's you're going to college. And so I never really considered that wasn't going to...
So you were always going to get your master's then in something?
No. So, sorry, I'm digressing a little bit. So I went to college and when I went to college, I really didn't really know what I wanted to do with
What did you get your degree
life.
in?
So I got my degree in philosophy and political science. However, I went into college as an educational psychology major.
Oh.
Yeah, I went to Northwestern University. It's in Evanston, Illinois.
Okay.
It's a pretty good school and it's a very big school and they have a whole education school. But when I started in their undergrad education department, I was like, this isn't what I'm looking for.
Okay.
I was looking to study more like the psychology behind how people learn and why they learn. And the first like 2 semesters of classes was all like childhood development and
right, because when education, especially in college, it's a lot of like elementary school education. From what I've noticed, at least like when I went to college, it was a lot about how childhood development, right? How to teach students or like different learning styles, and that doesn't necessarily seem what you were aligned with.
That wasn't my interest. So I had gone in with my distribution requirements. Like I took AP classes in high school. And
my goodness.
I had those covered. My education was really important
big
to my parents. Like they really pushed me to like make sure I was doing the honors classes, make sure I was like on top of my studies.
Do you think that's why you have such a good work ethic?
I definitely think it's a big part of it.
Yeah.
That and also the gymnastics, like
right.
doing the competitive.
And you did those at the same time, right? You did that since you were little, and then I'm assuming through high school too.
I stopped gymnastics when I was 14 because I basically wanted to like have a life.
Outside, right?
In high school,
gymnastics does take so much. That's what everybody says.
My high school didn't have a gymnastics team.
Okay.
So I had looked at going to another school for gymnastics, but their facilities were subpar. Oh, okay. It was like basically you had to roll out the mat. There was no spring floor.
Oh, okay.
That was really what did it for me. And tumbling it is really hard without a spring floor.
Yeah.
It's a lot of impact. And even at that age,
right.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know about this. And also I was like, I loved gymnastics because I loved the sport. And when I started on my gymnastics team, it was run by this couple that had their kids on the team. And so there was like this nice family vibe. But then my last few years, we switched coaches to somebody that was way more dedicated to our progress and performance. And it changed. Yes, he did a lot for our team and did make us stronger athletes and better competitors. But that wasn't what draw me to it. I liked the sport and I liked the community.
So would you say you've always been someone who really seeks community in the activities that you do?
I think that, yes, that has been me. But also it's been challenging. It was challenging for me to like find my community as a teenager. And so, yeah, it was something that I was seeking, but also I'd have to kind of like think about that a little bit more on like an eloquent answer. But it's definitely something right now that's extremely important. Yeah. And my parents too, they're big community people.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So basically I went to college. I switched my major over to political science because the other thing that really inspired me and made me curious was, why do we as human beings submit to authority.
Mm-hmm.
If we're all independent thinkers and we all have the capacity for like judging our own well-being and judging our own like wants and needs, why do we let somebody else do
Dictate.
that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I switched over to poli-sci. The classes were interesting.
Did you double major?
Yeah.
So you got 2 degrees then?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And then I added in the philosophy because I had finished because I'd done my distribution requirements like before getting in there.
So you
And
you came in as a
time.
freshman, and so you were essentially a sophomore by then in terms of credits.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay,
Yes,
that makes sense.
Exactly. Like almost there.
Mm-hmm.
So basically when I was I think a junior
Mm-hmm.
in college, I went to my friend's, I stayed at my friend's house over the summer, and his mom took me to my first yoga class ever.
Oh my goodness.
And it was a really special yoga class. It was a small room. There was just 6 of us in the room. And the teacher, instead of like the standard way of teaching where there's a teacher in the front and they're teaching people, she would go around and individually instruct us on progressions.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. And this is like the first time since gymnastics that I had like gotten back into that part of my body. And I just remember stretching down into like a middle split almost, or like a standing forward fold. And I was like, oh my gosh. This
Like
is
nostalgic even.
nostalgic. And also like, this is really where I want to be.
Oh,
Yeah.
mhm.
And then the thing with yoga at that time, this is 2003.
Okay.
So it's before the big
But
yoga.
the big yoga, I was about to say, I was like, where was this in like to the 2010 yoga craze?
Yeah.
It was before then. Mhm.
So yoga was like, yeah, it's still, you know.
It was early 2000s nonetheless.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So it was a little bit different. I did really like the whole mind-body connection. I like to not just do things. I like to think about why I'm doing them, which is why I think like, you know, I mean, not to throw shade at like regular sports like ball sports or whatever. I feel like that's a lot more physical and a lot less mental. And so when I was doing the yoga, I was like, oh my gosh, this combines all of these things.
Right, that you love so much, that you loved about gymnastics, that you hadn't done in a long time. Yeah.
So I basically practiced yoga for a year, and then I decided that I wanted to invest in a yoga teacher trainer program. I did that over the summer between my junior and senior year. And then senior year, when I went back to Northwestern, Northwestern has a giant sports facility because they're a D1 school. And so they had opened this mind-body program.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
The stars simply aligned.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was able to get a slot teaching 1 yoga class a week.
Right.
And then I found this other studio in Evanston that was run by this woman. I don't remember her name, but she taught a specific kind of yoga called Scaravelli or something like that yoga. And she was just had the studio, and she gave me a couple slots, and she gave me a key, and she was like,
goodness.
write down the names of the people that come.
How did you feel when you was this like, were you like super stoked? Was this like something that was kind of inevitable for you? Did you find yourself really just settling in this position of like an instructor, or how did this?
Yeah, so I had also other teaching experience. When I was in high school, I coached a gymnastics team.
Okay.
And then I also taught Hebrew school when I was in high school as well, because I grew up learning Hebrew. And so I had also been like babysitting. And so
Okay, so you had a lot of leadership like opportunities under your belt, it seems.
developing leadership, you know, as much as a teenager can have.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, but I did find that was a natural place for me to be. Like it wasn't, it just exactly like what you said, it just kind of fell into place. So I started doing these yoga classes. I started getting more jobs. And by the time that it came to graduate college, or like that March, I was like, what am I going to do? Because the only thing I was really passionate at that time was the yoga. And yeah, I had this great degree, and I had been considering going for a PhD at that time in philosophy. Fortunately, my advisor was like, hey, because I've always been a very social person, like have a lot of friends, and I've always had a very active social life. Like, in various ways. And my professor, my advisor, who was one of my philosophy professors, who were still friends on Instagram.
Oh my goodness. Shout out
Mark Sheldon.
Yeah.
Are you watching this? I remember you. So he was like,
he's like, why?
He's like, do you want to be sitting in the library with
in a room? Yeah.
For the next 5 years? I'm like, he's like, I didn't think so. So I had a friend that was a year older than me that had done teaching abroad program in Japan. And I started to like look into what that would be like. And so I started to find on the internet like some various teaching programs abroad. I was looking at Latin America, but all the programs there required you to be like proficient in Spanish
speaking,
which I didn't know any, or like very little. I took like 2 years in high school at that point, you know, so no, but I found that you could work in Asia without those requirements. The requirement was just that you either had ESL certificate or you just had any college degree.
Oh, wow.
So I did some investigation and I found that actually Taiwan was going to be one of the best places to go. The pay was really good. Like, I mean, for that.
For right out of college too, right? Like
exactly.
One does not have like the highest expectations coming out of college. Yeah.
But the work week, work week there is not 40 hours. I think the work week is like 26 hours.
Oh my God. So like a part-time essentially conversion here. Yeah.
And I checked the prices for apartments and everything. And I was like, wow, I'm going to actually be able to
do this. Yeah.
Save money. And so I went over there. I had a job. That job didn't work out. I switched to working at an outdoor educational school. I taught there for about 6 months.
What did you teach?
I taught rock climbing and rappelling. Yeah, and like ropes courses.
Okay.
It was fun. I had a lot of fun, but the school was at the top of this mountain.
Oh.
And I had to ride a scooter up there.
Yeah. No.
And it rains regularly in Taiwan. So I had a few like minor scooter incidents.
Oh my God.
Going up the mountain.
Were you riding the scooter?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I had to get a scooter and
license.
ride it. Yeah, you didn't even need a license.
Oh, okay. You just had to have a scooter.
Yeah, you just had to have a scooter and like, I don't think I needed a license. Maybe I did need a license. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
Okay. Yeah, we won't say.
I did have a helmet.
Okay,
yeah.
That's awesome.
Mandatory helmet.
Yeah.
But basically, like...
Well, it just sounds like super scary then, having to go up there.
It was fine until, like, I peeled out on my scooter, a few times. And then when I showed up to work, the people were, like, not very empathetic with me.
Oh, my God.
I was the only female working up there. And they would kind of, like, poke fun at me.
That's so not cool.
I mean, it was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then basically after, it was 2 semesters. After the first semester, I talked with my boss and he was like, do you want to keep doing this? And I was like,
I don't want to get another scooter accident.
Yeah. So I started looking for other jobs. When I moved over there, I met this woman on the MRT, which is their subway.
Oh, okay.
And she came up to me and she's like, excuse me, do you speak English? And I said, yes. And she was like, she told me that she went to the University of Missouri or Alabama. I can't remember, but it's one of those two. And that she spoke English and that she didn't have anybody to speak English to. And she befriended me. Her name is Emily Lynn. She was super sweet. She helped me so much. And what she did was that she worked for Prudential Life Insurance over there.
Okay.
The whole company at that time was preparing for this convention in San Diego called the $1 Million Roundtable. And she's like, would you be interested in tutoring
Tutoring for the $1 Million Roundtable?
Tutoring the employees of Prudential.
Oh, okay.
Including the CEO.
For English?
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, for English, exactly.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Not economics.
Not
yeah.
But like, they were fine in that department. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I got this job. Basically, I would go to Prudential, this really big company in downtown Taipei, and I had like maybe 6 clients that I would meet with for an hour. Some of them, their English was, I don't even think they needed a tutor.
Yeah.
They just wanted somebody to practice with.
Yeah.
And then some of them needed to learn the alphabet.
Oh, I see.
You know? So it was a wide variety, but I was basically doing that. And then at the same time, I had gotten into fire spinning when I was in college. Because
what got you into that?
So one of my friends at Northwestern, his name is Dimitri. He's from Mexico City, and he had been spinning poi since he was like 8 years old.
Oh, wow.
And so
Wait, what's poi?
Poi is these 2 chains.
Oh, okay.
And they have like balls at the end made of Kevlar. They don't have to be made of Kevlar. They could be made of anything.
Okay.
And you like spin them around your body.
I've seen that before.
You've seen that before? I think that it is actually like a Maori. It started with the Maoris. And so he was doing that. He got connected to a group of local fire performers that were like not college kids, but they lived in Chicago, and they had a fire troupe. And he took me to a fire jam.
Just for funsies? Like,
just for funsies.
Come with? Yeah. Okay.
Just to check it out and get inspired.
And before then, your only experience was gymnastics and yoga. This was kind of your first intro into like performance?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, into this performance community. Exactly. Otherwise, exactly what you said. So I went to this fire jam on Lake Michigan, which is Chicago was like right there on the border. And they did this whole fire circle. A bunch of people came out and were like doing all these various fire props. But what really hit me was these 2 girls that were doing fire hula hoop.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And they were doing the fire hula hoop, and they were getting down into a back bend and spinning it on their foot and doing things like that. And I was like,
wait, that looks really cool.
Yeah. And I felt at the same time, I was like, maybe this is something I could do. And so I did research online, and I was able to find these girls, and I saw that they were belly dancers.
Okay.
Yes, and fire hoopers. And so this like basically like piqued my curiosity in this. And so, yeah, my friend that I mentioned, Dimitri, him and my other friend started a fire toy making company.
Oh, wow.
And so I had then, because I saw them doing the fire hoop, I had started to learn belly dance too. I bought like a belly dance book and like got like downloaded some DVDs off of Pandora or something like that, Pirate Bay. And so I started like practicing myself. And so they made me a set of fire palms, like these little wood blocks with palm torches on the top to dance with. And then I bought myself a hula hoop too, and was just like trying to learn that as best as I could. So by the time I got to Taiwan, I like had these.
You had those skills under your belt.
And I would go to the park every day there and like
really?
practice.
Okay.
Yeah, I brought my stuff with me. And so I connected with a local fire troupe there, and they took me into their group immediately because they didn't have a fire hooper and the troupe was really small. But then the thing is, between the Prudential and the fire hooping, I wasn't able to get I think it's called an ARC, an alien resident card, which you need in order to stay in Taiwan. So I had to look for a job that would provide me that.
Okay.
So this is all going to circle back to my master's and why I got it. So basically, I found this job at an after school that was basically like 3 or 4 days a week. For 4 or 5 hours. It gave me enough hours that I was able to get the ARC. And it was an all right experience. I liked my kids and everything was fine, but I felt like I was very limited in what I was able to teach them. And so the reason why I got my master's degree was because when I came back from Taiwan and I came back to the US, I thought that I was going to go back out to Asia.
Okay.
Yeah.
You wanted something that would open more doors when you got there. Okay.
Yeah, because I found out that if you had a master's in education, you either had to have a master's in education or a master's degree or a comparable degree in the field that you wanted to teach. Exactly. Exactly. So I had my yoga license, but like I at this point had this plan of teaching this I had this whole curriculum developed. I don't remember all the details right now, but it was like some combination, movement, body, mind, understanding thing. And so I was like, okay, I want to teach this thing in Asia. Yeah.
And when you were at the time when you were thinking this, was that something that really like that you were satisfied with, that you were sure of, or were you feeling like a little iffy even with that?
Oh no, I was sure.
Sure.
I was certain. Yeah. I'm the kind of person that I'm not super into astrology right now in my life, but if you are, or if the listeners are, I am like a triple earth sign. I have my Taurus in my sun and moon are both Taurus. And also my Mars and Mercury are also Taurus.
Oh, wow.
And then my rising sign is Virgo.
I love that. I probably could have told you that.
Yeah. So it's really like, I'm just not the kind of person that like, because Virgos
and like also the grounding energy of a Taurus. Yeah, there isn't a lot of waiting around or teeter-tattering with that. Yeah, that makes sense.
So when I feel like I want to do something, I'm like, I'm doing this.
It. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was really certain that I wanted to do this program. So when I came back to the US, I signed up, I got into NYU and I took their fast track to education. It was a 10-month program. It was really intense. It was a lot of work. And while I was doing that, I realized that the educational field just
wasn't it.
Academia wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Too much red tape.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
And also like my vision for wanting to get into education was I was looking to idealistically like transform the educational system.
Yeah.
And not just for the system, but for the learners. Like, you know, I studied the whole like 11 different kinds of intelligences.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, all right, cool. So if you're a visual learner and I'm an auditory learner, that is different.
Yeah.
If I'm a kinetic learner and you're like a linguistic learner, that is completely different. We should not be learning in the same way. Right? But then I was like, okay, so I kind of like looked into the system and I'm like, what's going on here? I found that I would have to basically start as a teacher and then become an administrator and then become a principal. And then from there, I could maybe be considered for like academic curriculum building, something like that.
That's true. That's so true. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was just like,
no, it's not for me.
I was like, this isn't for me. Not that I was just, this isn't gonna work.
Right.
However, I love the transfer of knowledge. And so this was all of this is going on at the same time. I'm in grad school in New York. I'm doing my student teaching. I'm getting my master's. I'm performing. I'm part of the House of Yes. I'm taking classes at their aerial school, the Skybox. I'm observing my teacher.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm fire performing. And it's all coming together. I'm seeing the path that I'm on. I'm seeing the two paths that I'm on, and I'm about to turn right.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going with that other path.
That's so true, because those are completely two different worlds that you're discussing. There's like the typical academia path where you go to school forever, and then, you know, in terms of teachers, you know, like you said, teacher, administrator, principal. And then, you know, you could get into building the curriculum. And that just wasn't like how your professor said, like, that just wasn't for you. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, the system is there for a reason. And I'm a realist. I'm not an idealist, So I was just like, I kind of feel, one of my friends said this the other day, like, you have to know the hand that you're dealt. Like, and if you know the hand that you're dealt, you can play it and you can play it to the top. But if you're trying to play somebody else's hand, like, you're going to fold. So I'm like a pretty reflective, like, introspective person. Yeah, I think a lot about
your choices. Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
and I love that you're someone that, like, it seems like you make choices pretty fast and, like, certainly, which I love.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's so admirable.
Thank you. I mean, when I'm sure of something, if I'm certain of something, yes. If I'm not certain of something, I'm just gonna kind of sit back.
Take a step back.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Could you tell me about your first professional gig?
Yes. So I would say that I had two professional gigs. Yeah, the first one was in Taiwan. I got to perform for L'Oreal, the makeup company.
The makeup company.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you get recruited when you were, like, performing in the park, or how did this happen?
So I was performing with this fire troupe.
Okay.
And so they brought me in through the troupe to the L'Oreal performance. So that was not an independent booking, but that was my first, like, really professional gig. Like, I remember they brought out a whole light up runway.
Oh, wow.
And they had us up on platforms and, it was like you have to wear a certain costume and certain makeup and hair, and they had that all laid out. I think they might have even given me a costume to wear.
Okay.
I think so. I could be wrong. But so there was that situation. And I was just like, wow.
Wow. This was post-grad because you were in Taiwan.
Yeah.
How old were you?
22 or 23.
Oh my God, you were so young.
Yeah, I know. I was a baby then.
I,
of course, didn't think I was a baby.
Right. Of course not. You were very grown and mature. But that's so amazing. So what was the gig for L'Oreal? They were just like, they had an event there and they wanted performers?
Yeah, they were doing a makeup launch of some product. I don't know what it was or remember. And they had set up a whole promotional party, I guess, where they had models and the makeup, and then they invited various people. But, as a performer, you don't really get any
all the
of that.
details.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You just basically get so they hired our group to do fire. And so they had me doing fire hoop, like, on a platform, a couple sets.
Do you have any pictures from then?
I wish I did.
Oh, my goodness.
Sadly, this is, like, before smartphones.
Right.
And so I have very few images from my time in Taiwan, which is really sad. Yeah. And also all of my footage was material prints.
Oh, yeah.
And I was dating somebody when I was out there, and he unfortunately has all of that stuff.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
they're off
there might be
somewhere out there.
But I have no access to them.
Oh.
So that was interesting. My other first professional gig where I was booked as an independent. So when I moved to New York, when I moved back there after Taiwan, and I was getting my master's and also performing, and I was doing the fire performing. I was doing this, like, fire belly dance, hoop, palm torches, staff, like all of those things.
What's the staff?
The staff is a long stick.
Okay, the long stick with two dowels at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So I was doing all that, and I don't remember how I got, but I'm a networker. Like, I love people. I love meeting people. Love talking to them. I love learning about them. And so, I knew when I got to New York, I didn't know what networking was, but I knew I needed to meet people.
And you seem like a person that's very natural at it too.
Thank you. I think it's because I don't see networking as, like, I need to meet this person and get where I want to go.
A transactional thing. Yeah.
It's like I only will network with people that I feel like I have a genuine connection with, you know, because I don't want to be working with somebody that doesn't respect me.
Right, of course not. Or it's just like that's seen as like I said, like a transactional thing, because then it's not fun for either person. Yeah.
That's right. So I can't remember who hooked me up with this gig, but I got invited to perform fire at a red carpet event for Moby's like 40th or 50th birthday, the music artist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I was just like, is this my life?
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't even believe it. And I remember the woman that I had wanted to take belly dance classes from, she also got booked. So that was my first time meeting her.
Oh my
And there was
goodness.
one other girl, I don't remember who it was, but yeah, it was somewhere in Brooklyn at some really nice place. And they rolled out a red carpet and they had us like on the red carpet doing fire. She was belly dancing. And then he did his birthday thing inside and we did one more set. And I was just really taken away with the life. You know, of course, at that time, I really didn't know what I was doing. Not necessarily physically, but professionally.
Right.
Yeah, I really didn't. I really didn't know. But I was just like, I really want to be doing this. And so I connected with two different ladies in New York that were also both fire performers and started like, one of them, we started our own troupe, like the two of us. And she was interesting because she was really well connected in New York. And she had already been doing fire spinning. But she had stage fright.
Oh.
And so when she met me, she was like, her name is Phoenix. And we were really close at that time. She was like, oh, I do poi and but I can never perform. And I was like, why not? Like, you know, who cares? Like, you could definitely perform. Because she would like, we did a fire jam together and I was like, dude, you're great.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And she was gorgeous and had good style. And so I was like, girl, like,
you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just get out there.
And so at that time, I was really into fire. At this time, the aerial was just like starting for me. I attended this festival in New York that's called Wildfire, or maybe it was in Connecticut. Anyways, I don't really remember where it is, but it's on the East Coast, like around New York. We did have to drive a little bit. And it's basically like the equivalent of California Fire Drums, which is a big fire festival, mostly educational. There's workshops all day. And then there's like a big fire jam at night. And so my friend Wolf took me up there and I met this woman called Ms. Molotov. And she was a fire eater and fire breather. And I was just like,
oh my goodness.
I fell in love.
Yeah.
I fell in love.
Yeah.
All the other fire spinning just completely stopped in that moment. I met also at that time I met her and I also met this guy named Terrence Drake who I recently just connected with on Facebook,
yay.
who's a Canadian fire eater. And that just really set it all off for me.
So where did you learn fire eating? Was it at that?
From her.
Okay.
From Ms. Molotov. However, my second fire eating coach told me the first and only rule of fire eating, which this is not actually the first and only rule of fire eating. However, it's the most important one. And that's this. And that's that fire eating is magic. It's magic. It's real magic. Like, how do you put a flame out in your mouth without dying?
Right.
And he told me that the only rule that I needed to remember was to preserve the magic. Of it.
Oh!
Yeah.
I was going to ask.
Totally. So he was like, you know, you never need to tell anybody where you learned. Like, don't be like, oh, you learned from
so-and-so,
me,
and this is what they said.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's so valid. Yeah.
Interestingly enough, over the last like decade, fire eating has spread in such a way that I feel the magic of it has been lost a little bit. But I still uphold that tradition, and same with all of my students, because I will teach that,
Right.
but only privately.
Yeah. And just one-on-one, no group classes. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I don't really do group class. I'll do like a 2-person class if that needs to.
Yeah.
But just for a point of comparison, like being an aerial instructor for almost 16 years, I've taught minimally 1,000 people.
Oh, wow.
Minimally 1,000 people have come through and taken classes from me. In this amount of time, I've had less than 20 fire eating students.
Why do you think that is?
Because of how I feel about it.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it's less about what people interested, more about who you decide to let in.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll teach an aerial class to anybody. Yeah. Anybody that wants to learn aerial, I will teach you a class. And here's the reason. With fire eating, like I said, fire eating is magic. If I think that you're not going to uphold
that.
that part of it, I'm just like, there's plenty of other people out there teaching you. I do also look at it as like heavily technical skill. There's just also a smaller set of skills with fire eating. Like once you learn this like handful or multiple handfuls of tricks, like it's basically combining those and making your own combos. Aerial is way different. Like it'll take you a year minimum. And for some people, like 5 years, to even get the basic vocabulary. Yeah, sure. If you're already an athlete and you're coming in and you have a gymnastics dance background, you can probably get the basic information in like maybe 6 months, but still, So I just see that as like a continuing education. Also, yes, aerial is very dangerous and risky. And I have had a variety of unpleasant experiences personally for my own self, injuries. But I also feel like it's good for you because, you're using your body. And if you're training correctly, you're hopefully building mobility, flexibility, active flexibility, strength, coordination. With fire eating and fire breathing, you're just ingesting fuel.
Right.
So I don't really see a health benefit of that.
Yeah.
And I've been a plant-based eater since I was 12. I don't eat like natural flavors, artificial flavors, none of that stuff. I basically never have. My parents brought me up to like not eat like junk food. And so health is something that's really important to me. I saw my grandparents like go through dementia and like, I'm like, your health is your wealth.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's another factor
in it.
for me. Yeah.
Interesting. So we've talked about silks with aerialists. We've talked about fire breathing. Is there other skills that you've picked up along the way?
In terms of outside of the aerial and fire, or in terms, so if you want me to share maybe more about my aerial progression.
Sure, let's do that. Yeah.
So also I feel like I didn't really tie it together into how I started my business.
We'll get there. We'll get there too.
Okay. So in terms of aerial, let's see. I started off, actually my first aerial apparatus was Lyra. I fell in love with the aerial hoop. But I wasn't able to get classes on that. So I was only able to get classes on silks. Through my silks classes, I started doing trapeze, swinging trapeze. And that's what I built my first aerial act on. It was a combination fire eating trapeze.
Where was this at?
This is at House of Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. After doing silks for about 6 months, I got connected with a trapeze instructor that taught at House of Yes. And I was just like, oh, this is something that looks way more familiar than silks.
Absolutely. Right. Because of the bars.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this.
Yes.
I don't really see, do you still do trapeze now, or what is the relationship with trapeze now?
Because when I was, I broke my back. I fell off a trapeze about 3 months after I started doing it and performing it. It's entirely my fault, but also it was an accident. I was doing a release move where I would go completely horizontal between the two ropes and then release one leg and do a backspin around the rope, like 2 or 1.5 spins. And then I would land at the bar sitting up and I would hook one knee and drop back to a single knee hang. And so when I was doing this one performance, I caught the bar slightly below my knee. And so when I dropped back into the knee hang, I wasn't able to completely knee hook.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so I was hanging there for like about 30 seconds. I tried to rehook my leg. I tried to grab up for the bar. And I tried to do something else. And then I was like, it's either my head or my feet. And so I had fall experience from being a gymnast. So I crossed my arms over my chest, tucked my chin, started falling head first, slammed my feet on the ground, and then slammed my back.
Oh my God.
So basically I was out. After this happened, I was kind of like out for like 6 weeks. And then I healed quickly. I got a lot of really good healing advice. I then went on a tour across the US doing fire. I was supposed to do some aerial, but I ended up just doing fire. And then I came back to New York, and then my friend Wolf that I mentioned earlier invited me to do a tour of Mexico with her. And while we were touring, about like 2 months into that, I started to feel like a lot better. And I found that you could buy aerial silk fabric in Mexico, like a slightly stretchier version for like super cheap.
Oh, wow.
And so I bought a set, and every day, there was like about a month that I stayed in Mexico City. I would go to the Olympic Park there and literally climb the pole of one of their structures, tie my silk up, and just try to remember things. Yeah. So when I came out to San Francisco, I was doing silks, and I was doing silks for a while. I was teaching silks. But I quickly got into aerial rope, which is like a single strand. It's a smooth rope. So it's a braided rope covered by a Kevlar cover. I was performing that for about 5 years, 6 years. I created a fire-eating rope act.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And so that was like my thing for a minute. The act didn't get as good of reception as I hoped it would. So I didn't stick with that for a super long time because I was kind of hoping for a better reception. I don't know if it was the act or if people were just like not responding to my art or I was showing it to the wrong people. I'll never really know. But what happened next was that I'm always like kind of looking to expand my skills and push myself. And so I was like, okay, I'm doing the fire eating rope act. I did the fire eating trapeze act. I had done some fire eating lyra. You can't do fire on silks because they're flammable. So I was like, what if I could possibly do a body burn on the rope?
Oh my goodness.
So I started researching all this. One of my friends from New York is actually friends with a super professional stunt guy. I talked with him about it. He kind of gave me
What stunt guy?
His name is Rocky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, Rocky from New York?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, his name is Rocky.
Oh, okay.
But he lives in New York. That's really all the information I have about him. I got his phone number and we talked on the phone twice. And yeah, he does stunts for like movies.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah. And he gave me some information about how to do body burn and what I needed to look into. And the more I looked into it, the more I realized that the aerial rope wouldn't work because I would have the flames going upwards. So I was able to find on the internet this professional stunt gel that you put on your body. It's like a thick gel, and then you get another gel that has some sort of fuel in it. You can light your body on fire.
I literally just interviewed Mike Martinez, who's a stunt double and did a lot of stunts where he lit himself on fire. And he was talking about that gel too.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, that's wild.
So funny. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So I basically realized that even though the rope, the outside is made of Kevlar, the inside is still flammable. So I was like, what apparatus could I possibly do this on? I had been given a pair of aerial chains.
Oh my goodness.
I
knew this was coming.
Yes, by one of my students. And I was like, chains aren't flammable.
Yeah.
So I started training chains. When I started doing chains, I literally could not do them. The pain was so bad. Like I was pinching my hands. I was pinching my legs. I was bleeding. I couldn't get the grip. And I basically gave up and then was like, no, I want to do this. And as forementioned, I'm stubborn, and if I want to do something, I'm a hard worker. I'm gonna do it. And so I basically decided that I wanted to do a partial body burn on chains. This is 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, 2018, 2019, around that time, end of 2018, beginning of 2019. And so Sky High started off as like a big location. I'd mentioned this earlier. We'll talk about that more later. And then I had a temporary period of about a year where I was in a transitional space. And so that was like a private studio. So I would go there and I'd basically train chains in my underwear.
Oh my goodness.
And like go through the poses that I wanted to do to get the body burns. When I got to, and I'll send you this video.
Okay,
when I got to
Can we plug it into this video? Okay, awesome.
I would love to. It's on my YouTube.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And so I basically, and then at the same time, because I had moved out of the original location for my business, which was a combination live work event space and my aerial school and booking too, that I was all running in one space gave me no time to like explore outside. So when I moved out of there, I was like, oh, okay, well, I can actually like do gigs. So I created this act. I performed it for my birthday over here at my home studio. We have like this atrium in the back that has a wooden frame. It's like not meant for aerial, but like for static hanging. It's not, you can't do like drops or anything on it. But for like support. Yeah. So I threw a birthday party and I invited like 50 of my friends and I performed the act there. And I even sent the act at that time. Cirque du Soleil was doing a new show called Run. It basically flopped.
Oh my goodness.
But my friend Ozzy was in it and they were like, hey, we're looking for like extreme sideshow acts. So I filmed the act and sent it to them. And I was basically going with that for a moment. And then my partner took me to Ripley's Believe It or Not for our anniversary.
And where was this?
This is like the same time.
And this was
like 2019.
2019, but where? Here in the Bay Area?
Yeah.
Where is that, in San Francisco?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right downtown on the pier.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, they have them all over the country.
They do.
But I'm talking about the specific one. So he took me there for either my birthday or our anniversary. I'm thinking it was my birthday, but it could have been our anniversary. No, it must have been our anniversary because of this next part, which is in February.
Oh, okay.
And I saw they have this wax sculpture on the third floor that's hanging down, and they have a video playing. The sculpture is of this woman named Tiny Klein. And that's her artist name. And the video is of Tiny Klein going across a zip line hanging from her teeth. Yes.
Yeah.
And I saw that and I was like,
oh my God.
That's an aerial act. Yeah. Because kind of like what I mentioned about the fire eating, like I love aerial for the physicality and I love it for the community and I love it for the flexibility and I love it for like what it does for my body. But I'm also a performer. Like I'm also like an artist. And what I love about being an artist and what I hope to do for my audience is inspire them to do the impossible. And for me, the impossible is a lot of times it's physical, it's stunt work. But for somebody else, the impossible might be some step that they're taking in their career. It might be some other form of art. Your impossible is not my impossible. And so I have always hoped that my art will inspire people when they see what I'm doing. I hope they're going to see something and be like, wow, I never thought that anybody could do that. And because I saw that person do that, I'm going to go into my own life and take control of whatever it is that I feel. And so when I saw the jaw hanging, I was like, So I got a coach for that. He was a
How do you even go about finding a coach for that?
So hard.
Yeah.
It's so underground. It's really underground. Nowadays, it's been spreading a little bit more because of Instagram, but it's still extremely underground. And so I found this guy on Instagram that was Russian selling the mouthpiece.
Okay.
And so I bought one from him, and he was like, the mouthpiece comes with a lesson.
Oh, nice. There you go.
So I did the lesson, but I couldn't get it.
Right.
It was really hard. And I was like, he didn't speak English, and I don't speak any Russian. And so he basically was telling me like, oh, he asked me how much I weighed. And I was like, I don't know, like 125 or whatever. And he was like, well, you're light. You can do it. And I was like, oh, I can't.
I can't. I'm trying my best.
So I kind of took a break for that.
Yeah.
And then a few months later, I found another person online, and I reached out to him. This was during the pandemic.
Oh my goodness.
So this is 2020, right? 2020, pandemic happened in March. I found him in April. And I was like, hey, do you coach Iron Jaw? And he was basically like, I need money.
Yeah, right. It's in the middle of pandemic. Yeah.
So he made me a mouthpiece, and sent me a bunch of exercises, and I just really went at it super hard.
And what does this mouthpiece look like?
It's a piece of leather.
Okay.
Yeah, I have mine. I can pull it out.
Okay, yeah.
If you want.
Yes,
yeah.
let's see it.
Right now?
Yeah, sure. We could pause it. Alrighty, so we're back, and we're back with some mouthpieces. Could we get a little close up on the camera?
So these are my Iron Jaw mouthpieces. This is the first mouthpiece that I had, and this was my favorite mouthpiece. Their name was Master Bitey.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I know. I thought it was pretty clever. There's a top and a bottom, and basically your teeth sit on top of this piece, and you're hanging like that up in the air. Yeah. So basically, I had a shelf life for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. First of all, because it's something that's inside of your mouth, it's really hard to like gauge what's going on. My coach really didn't have a great understanding of the deep technicalities behind it. I had like even though after I got it, I had a variety of things that would come up for me, and I had no guidance around that.
Right.
So basically after 4 years of that, I wasn't able to do it anymore.
But something interesting happened in those 4 years, yes?
Yeah. Oh, well, everything interesting happening in those 4 years. Doing Iron Jaw opened doors for me that never existed. I'm meeting you now in my life, and this is what I say to people, is that you meet me now and you think, oh, this person, like, I'm successful now. I was not always successful. There were many years when people did not respond to my art. You know, there was many years when I struggled to get shows. I struggled to get students. Like, you know, it was not easy for me. Like I dealt with a lot of rejection, like as a teen, in college, like even in gymnastics too. I wore glasses when I was a gymnast, and competing with they wouldn't give me contacts because I was too young. Competing with glasses on, you get deducted like 2 points.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So I had to basically compete blind. Yeah. I had really bad eyesight. I got LASIK in 2025. So
there you go.
There we go. Yeah.
Nice.
Best decision of my life. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, doing the jaw hanging, like all of a sudden, like various people wanted to work with me. And I got all kinds of amazing opportunities. It really like paved the way for me to be able to do and share my art. I got booked for some massive gigs. I got to headline this Vampire Ball in Denver. Alex and I got flown out there. I got to headline Las Vegas Pride on the Kink stage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did you ever tour with any circus like Cirque du Soleil, or were you ever guest starring?
No, I've only done like guest spots, really. I haven't been able to do any touring shows because my priority is my company. And it's just the first like 7 years of having Sky High, I had the location where I was running an event space at my aerial school and a live work. And I was in charge of everything. So I like almost didn't even get out of there.
Right.
And even now, like my school makes up like 60% of my income, and it has for many years now. So it's like I would have to have something that replace that. And then also at the same time, I do feel very like I need to be there for my students. I think now I have like a rapport with them that like if I had to do something for a period of time.
Right, for like 6 months or a year.
Now at this point in my life, I feel ready for something like that. Yeah.
Is that something that you look for in the horizon?
Yes. In various ways. I don't know about like, I'm not interested in doing like a tent show. That seems like a lot of work. And I don't know about like being on tour, living in a trailer, setting up tents. Breaking them down. I'm over 40. So not that I feel like, oh, I need to slow down or whatever, but I just have a different standard. Yeah, exactly. Of how much I'm a hard worker and I put in the work, but like, you know, like a girl needs their sleep
and their space.
Exactly. Food, all that stuff.
That's not necessarily. Yeah.
So I do. So basically, after the Iron Jaw, kind of.
Which is, can we talk about your record?
So basically, you know, I've been really into the fire and aerial combo, and I've always, like I said, been looking for like something that's just gonna be mind-blowing. And very impactful. And so I came up with this idea that I was like, hey, nobody's done this. Maybe I can do this. And maybe like let's say about 2 years into my Iron Jaw journey, I was like, okay, what if I did a jaw hang with a combination partial body burn?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so I sent a message to World Records.
Guinness World Records?
Not the Guinness World Records. It's this other group called the World Record Republic.
Oh, okay.
It's run by this guy named Throdini. He's the fastest knife thrower in the world. I met him in New York like way back in the day, and one of my partners at the time was his target girl. And so he started this like side project to the Guinness World Records. And it's the World Records Holders Republic, and he grants people world records. And so I did apply to Guinness, but they never got back to me.
Interesting.
They have a long process, and they were like, I did get the message of like, we have a ton of applications and we'll get back to you. And then
nothing came about.
And then nothing, or maybe their message went to my spam. I don't know.
No.
But at the same time, I found him and he was like, well, what do you want to do? And I told him, and he was like, yeah, you know, let's do it. So basically I did a photo shoot with a local photographer, Michael Moore, and we did some really cool pictures. And I was like, hey, would you be open to film this for me? And so at the same time, I talked to Throdini and I told him I was filming it, and, you know, you have to set the date and everything. And I took the video and got 55 seconds and I sent it over to him, and he was like, boom.
Boom, period. Oh my God.
New world record. Yeah.
Has anybody been close to breaking it?
I don't think anybody's tried. Yeah. I've never seen anybody else do a body burn with the jaw hanging. I will say this. I was the first person that I saw on the internet or anywhere to do fire with the jaw hanging. I would do jaw hanging, and I would have these big lycopodium torches. That's basically a flammable powder that I would spin and perform around me. And so I have seen, since that happened, I've seen people combine that with like hair hanging, but I haven't seen a jaw with fire. Yeah.
Did you dabble in hair hanging at all?
I did take a hair hanging workshop, but as you can see, I don't have a full head of hair. Yeah. And so I did take a workshop. My coach was super awesome. He's a Venezuelan guy that lived in Mexico, Mal. And I took a 3-part workshop from him. So I did learn to hair hang, and I have very loosely dabbled. And after I ended jaw hanging, I thought about getting back into it. I thought about not getting back into it because I was never really like into it.
Right.
Yeah.
But just like dabbling back into it maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. And
it was like, no.
the neck pain is too much.
Oh, really?
I really think I need a full head of hair.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. That makes sense.
think I need a full head of hair. So I did grow out my undercut, and maybe I would try it again. But I'm also like, because of the injuries that I've had, and I remember you had mentioned in your questions like, oh, how's your relationship with fear and pain changed? Yeah. So I will say this. When I started doing aerial, my relationship with pain and fear was, I don't have it. I'm not afraid, and I don't experience pain in the same way other people do, whereas I look at pain, and I'm still the same way with pain. It's like pain is a gateway. There, you got to know the difference between something hurts, and you have to know the difference between something hurts and this is dangerous and fatal and can mess me up versus it's uncomfortable and this is something I can move through. I experience this all the time with my current work. And so where was I?
Yeah, no, you're so in terms of the hair hanging,
exactly. Okay, thank you. So yeah, when I did the hair hanging, I was like, this hurts and this feels like this is gonna mess me up. My second or third hair hanging session after I got my feet off the ground, I had to ice my head for like 6 hours.
Oh my goodness.
And then I've read a little bit about it, and it seems like it can cause long-term neck problems. After being a jaw hanger for 4 years and doing that like 3 to 4 times a week, performing almost every weekend, I feel like I kind of reached my max limit with how much abuse I can give to
your
my neck.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, let's try a different body part, maybe. Yeah.
And I had another injury with that.
Oh my goodness.
Unrelated to that, which I can go into or not.
Yeah.
So basically, this is basically like kind of the sign for me that pursuing that kind of work isn't for me. So I used to perform on various apparatus, this skill called a neck hang. On silks or chains or rope, what you do is you make a loop with the apparatus and you hold it with your hand and you balance with your neck. You want to be balancing with your neck, pulling your chin back and then tipping your chin up so that you're actually activating these muscles back here. I performed this move. I also performed with a neck loop for literally 14 years.
Oh, wow.
And then, last summer I did a show. And so just to backtrack a little bit, after I stopped the iron jaw, I had been performing combination iron jaw and chains. And where most people do the loop chains, the chains in the loop, which is how I did my body burn, I actually favor vertical chains. So chains that basically look like silks or rope, depending on how you look at it or what you see. A lot of people are like, oh, your axe looks like you're doing silks. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny because most of my moves are rope moves with some silk stuff or other skills thrown in. So I was performing a neck hang on the chains and I got kind of caught up in the heat of the moment. And also I was wearing a collar that I thought I had worn in a previous performance. But when I looked back at my videos, I realized that no, I hadn't been wearing that collar. So I basically got caught in the heat of the moment and did like an aggressive head throwback instead of doing the right activate and lift.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, I was wearing this neck collar, which basically either cut off my carotid artery or activated the vagus nerve.
Yeah.
I'm not sure and I never will know, but I blacked out while I was in the air, fell to the ground. I hit my feet, my knees, and then I wear like this face cage. My face cage had a 3D printed spike on the front of it. And so when I face planted on a wooden deck, the spike broke and basically saved me from like breaking my face or my teeth. And I was completely blacked out. Like I completely lost consciousness. I was in the neck hang and I went to grab the second chain and I saw my hand grabbing a chain, but my hand wasn't grabbing a chain and I was seeing 4 chains.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And so I put my hand down and I tried to get it back together. I completely blacked out.
Yeah.
And so
that is terrifying.
Yeah.
Let's hold space for that real quick. That is insane. Like having to deal with losing consciousness while you're doing something like that and performing. That's the craziest part. And so what do you do in those moments?
So obviously, like I didn't know what happened because I blacked out. And so when I hit the ground and I was completely unconscious, but I think I came to pretty quickly. And when I looked up, a bunch of my friends were around me and I was like, oh, hey. And they were like, you need to go to the hospital. And I literally was like, why?
Oh my God.
And I kept asking what happened. And so my one friend thought that I had a concussion, but the truth is that I didn't have a concussion. I did go to the hospital. I got x-rays and everything. I did not have a concussion. I literally did not know what happened.
Until you saw the video?
Until they told me.
Oh, okay.
And then when they told me, it started to come back to me. I was like, oh, yeah. And so everybody was very concerned. I felt actually fine because I was wearing that face cage. It broke. I did hit my knee kind of hard, but I also felt fine. But everybody was like, you need to go to the hospital. And so my partner drove me to, this is up in like Ukiah Willits. My very good friend and also like big collaborator, Bubbles, lives up there and they have some land. And so they hosted this show that my friend Luna produces. It's called Saluniverse. And we were doing that show. And so I was a little concerned about going to the hospital because when I broke my back when I was in New York, I went to the hospital in my costume and the doctors were looking at me like I was crazy person. And it's like, yes, I am a crazy person.
Yeah. But I still need help.
But not that kind of crazy person. And so they basically, when in New York back in 2009, they left me hanging for like 6 hours. And it wasn't until my fire partner, Phoenix, came in, the doctor recognized us. He was like, hey, you guys are those fire eaters from this party that we used to perform at, the Danger Party. Like huge underground New York party.
And the doctor went to that party?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
New York's fun.
Yeah.
And so he was like, wait, did you do this fire eating? And I told him, no, I also do trapeze. And he just put me right in line for the MRI and like took care of me.
Yeah.
But I was nervous because I was up in Ukiah. And so I'm from New York. I grew up in New York. I went to college in Chicago. I've lived in Taipei. Now I live in San Francisco. So I'm kind of like a city person, you know? So I was like, I'm very ignorant to like what is going on up there in Mendocino. My friend was like, you don't need to worry. This is more like an outlaw town.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she's like, people are cool. So I did go to the hospital and everything was, they took x-rays of my head. What did we do? Okay, so we took x-rays of my knee, figured out that I didn't break anything, and then they put me in line for an MRI. They did an MRI, a full brain scan, and then they also shot me up with this iodine solution that turns your veins a certain color so they can make sure that you don't have any blockages.
Yes. Oh, interesting.
So I went through all that. I was there for like many hours. They cleaned me up. I didn't need stitches. They just put some glue on my head and on my knees. And yeah, so basically after that happened, my partner, I was talking with him about it because, you know, I was doing the jaw hanging and then I lost my ability to do that. And then I felt kind of like at that moment, I felt like, man, well, people are only booking me for the jaw hang and I need this like thing.
Yeah.
You know? And I was like, I really want to do the neck hanging because I basically replaced the jaw hanging with the neck loop for my axe. And Alex, my partner, said to me something that sticks with me and continues to stick with me. And he was like, you're never going to know, and I hope you never know how it feels to see your partner unconscious on the ground. He's like, I thought you were dead. And you know, this is last summer, so I've already been an acrobat for like 15 years. And that was my last injury, but not my first injury. There's a back break. And then there's been 2 other things in between there, which we don't need to go into that. It hit me. You know, it really hit me. It really struck me. Like, I'm not an acrobat because I want to die.
Exactly.
You know? But at the same time, my style, like, I like to do risky moves. I do. I'm strong and I have very good grip strength and I'm flexible. And so I push that to constantly get better and to constantly improve. And so after that, I bought a 2-inch crash pad.
Okay.
And now I perform with that all the time. No questions asked. Yeah. It's not gonna, like, if something really bad were to happen, but it's gonna mitigate. Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, it seems like your relationship with fear hasn't necessarily changed all that much, other than those sort of precautions that you put in place, and maybe just now having a different perspective of what the consequences of necessarily pushing your limits are.
Exactly.
And trying to mitigate those consequences. Yeah.
And also it's also this, and I do believe in this philosophy, and I always have. And it's sad that, like, these things happened while I was performing with moves that never had. I never blacked out from a neck hang ever. I've done hundreds, if not thousands of neck hangs, if not thousands. And same with the trapeze move. I was more novice with that, but still, it's like you train until you never get it wrong. You don't train until you always get it right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm in that school. Yeah. And if something goes wrong, like I have moves in my choreo that I've taken out. You know?
Oh, really?
Yeah, definitely. That I've taken out because, sometimes this move that I'm actually going to perform at our next show on the 12th, it was a newer move for me. And I was like, training it as like a little mini release move. You hold the chain and you do like a beat with your body and then kick your legs up, release one hand, grab a leg, grab behind the leg and grab the chain. And I was going to do that in a previous choreography around the same time that the neck hang happened last summer. And somebody said to me, man, that move is really crazy. And it just kind of got in my head. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take this out of my choreo.
Yeah.
But now I never, like, nothing wrong ever happened with it. I never.
Right. But it's the fact that you listened to your body and you listened to that sort of doubt and you took it seriously enough that you took it out.
Yes.
And that was that something you normally wouldn't have done?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I probably would not have done that.
You probably would have been like, okay, I'm just going to push through that even if I feel a little bit nervous.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Do you still get nervous or do you ever get nervous before big performances or even events like lightning in a bottle?
I get nervous before every performance.
Really?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Okay. I mean, there's always, if you're not getting nervous, you're not
pushing
checking
the
yourself.
limits. Oh.
And you're not checking yourself.
Oh, okay.
And especially with the stuff that I do. I do single arm hangs. I do split balances. I do open drops. I do release moves. I do hard things. I'm not a dancer. I'm not an aerial dancer. I'm an aerial acrobat. If I were to define myself as anything, it would be acrobat, not dancer. Yeah, there's an aspect of dance, but that's not my primary thing.
Right.
So if I'm not getting nervous and if I'm not like checking myself, okay, I have like a mental checklist. Like, first of all, am I warmed up? Am I warmed up enough? Like, I don't want to pull a hamstring. I don't want my grip to not be warmed up. I don't want my back to not be warmed up. I need my core to be warmed up. I need my glutes to be activated. I need my feet to be activated. I need my rotator cuffs to be activated. All of that. Flexibility, all my splits need to be warmed up. Which to me means holding each split for like 1 to 2 minutes. Depending on what I'm doing beforehand, like if I'm like running around and very active, I can kind of shorten, you know what I mean?
The warm-up time.
Warm-up. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I noticed about your class. Like majority of it was warming up. And then it was the, concentrated performance. But yeah, that was what really surprised me, was just how much like poses and stretches there were involved.
I care about my students. Like, I don't want them to injure themselves. Like, that's kind of also another thing about running an adult aerial school. Like, my students are all, like, my youngest student, like, is just turning 30.
Oh, wow. Did you ever think of having younger students, or has it always been like the dream to have adult class?
Always adult classes.
Always adult classes.
Yeah, I've dabbled in teaching a little bit of kids, but you observe my class. I'm very like heady, and I feel like people need to see the full picture. So whereas I will divulge more information as it goes, I just don't want somebody to be throwing their body around. Aerial is dangerous. You can kill yourself. You can break your leg. You can end quadriplegic. You can become paraplegic. You can do all kinds of things. So it is important to like know what you're doing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I get nervous every time. I have a grip situation. Like, I wear gloves when I do chains. And so I have a whole grip, like grip aid progression. I need to make sure that I have it on at the right time, that it feels good. I need to make sure my gloves are on, I need to make sure my mind is clear. I'm going over my choreography in my head like 2 or 3 times. There's that part. And then the rigging, like, I need to make sure the rigging is safe.
That's right. And you do your own rigging, I'm assuming.
I hopefully will have a rigger that knows what they're doing. But in the case that I don't, then I do my own rigging.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel better doing your own, or would you prefer somebody else to?
I feel better knowing what's going on with the rigging. I would prefer to have somebody else doing it for me, because if I'm going to perform, I need to be
ready and
focused on that. But in terms of that, like, there's various options. So if I perform with my portable rig, like, that's all my own rigging. Sometimes I will actually fly my apparatus up and lock it off, but if I'm performing with the portable, it's already set that there's going to be a team of like 3 to 4 people there. So there's that. If I perform at other places, I always check their systems.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What's something that people misunderstand about aerial arts or aerial acrobatics?
I would say that there's a couple things. One is that, like, you have to be a certain body type or age to do it. Because you don't. Like, I'm 43. Like, I do some really crazy stuff. Like, some of my students, my best friend, my aerial wife is 62.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She's crushing it, you know? And also, I do think that, okay, like the lighter you are, the easier it's going to be to lift yourself in the air. But that doesn't mean that those are the only people that can do aerial. Yeah. And then the other one is this, and that's that aerial is all upper body strength.
Oh, interesting.
It's not.
No.
Yeah. You need grip. You need core, you need glutes, you need proprioception. And then the other one is that I think that people a lot of times feel that aerial, it's like they're going to be coming into an intimidating environment. And that's not it at all. I'm not saying that communities like that don't exist. And this is one of the reasons why I opened Sky High. I wanted to open a judgment-free space where people, adults, could come and explore their passion judgment-free, you know? And so I do try to hold a very specific container there, like in terms of that, you know, support your classmates, like watch them, cheer them on, you know, that is important. Like never like shit talk anybody, you know, don't make fun of anybody. My students are all clowns. Like we keep it silly, you know what I mean? But it's like, if somebody like, you know, cause you saw my class, you're gonna get tangled in the air. It's part of it. Like there's no way that that's not gonna happen. That's gonna happen to you almost every time you do aerial.
Right.
The point is to get tangled low enough that you can get out. So you know, it's like, I think people think that, oh, you're going to start off all the way in the air. No, you saw that was my intermediate class.
Yeah.
We're right above the ground. Yeah. So I think that I created Sky High for that reason. Like I did come from the competitive gymnastics background, which is very visual. Like you have to have your hair a certain way. You have to have your leotard a certain way. Like you have to be slim, like you need to be strong. Like, and it's just like, I look at aerial as a rebellion against that, you know? You don't need any of that. You just need to be yourself, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, you know, touching on Sky High, when did it start becoming like less of an idea and more of like real moving towards where you are now?
Yeah, I love that question. So when I moved out here, I explained the story of that. And so when I moved out here, I just started getting like various gigs. And I had the vision of House of Yes that I came from in my head.
That's right. Because earlier in the interview, you mentioned how much you admired that space and how you wanted something like that. And
the community and the lifestyle and all of that. And so I had seen that. This is 2010. I moved out here. It was either end of 2010. I moved out here. I saw that there was a huge warehouse scene.
Okay.
Yeah. And so House of Yes started off as a warehouse. So I already kind of had in mind that I wanted to either be part of a warehouse like that. I didn't know that I wanted to start something.
Okay.
What I did was that when I moved out here, I went to all the different aerial schools. I didn't find what I was looking for. So I started meeting people like in the artist community, builders, costume designers, makers. And I started connecting with various people that had galleries and warehouses that had high enough ceilings and either already installed rigging or they had like exposed beams that were easy for me to rig off of. And so I started finding that. And at the same time, because I had been performing a lot, I would constantly meet people that were like, oh, can you teach me?
Interesting. Okay.
And so meanwhile, at this time, while I was recouping from the back break, I was exploring silks in this very heady way. I was looking at it as like a pattern and as like an analytical movement device. I started noticing that like all these different pieces, it wasn't just a bunch of random moves. It was a language. And in that language, there's like building blocks. There's vowels that will constantly repeat themselves. There's consonants. Once you learn those vowels and consonants, you combine them into words. Once you can learn words, then you can do phrases and then you can speak paragraphs. And so I was really like going into the heady part of it. So my classes were like, I was really excited to teach because I felt like at this time when aerial was first coming out, I had a good grasp
on it.
Yes. And that I was fit to teach it, at least what I knew at that time with the way that my brain works. And like also at the same time, I studied biology when I was doing yoga. So not like, you know, in a academic way, but I had a biology textbook. And so I learned all the muscles and like some.
And you had a master's in education.
Right. And that too. Exactly. Yeah. So I also had learned like how to teach and like what to look for. And so I had just, you know, I had maybe like 4 or 5 different places that I would teach aerial at. And I didn't have a car at the time. I would go around on my bicycle and carry my silks in a backpack.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, go to these galleries and like climb a ladder or rig them up. Some places let me keep them there and others didn't. And it just got to the point where I had like a large amount of students. And I had momentum. My students that some of them had been with me for a while and I was performing and I was starting to train them to do performances. And I just had a lot of momentum going on. And so at that time I had my first performance group out here. I called the Exotic Tissue Ballet. It was me and 4 other ladies. And we were like, we're going to open a space. Because as aforementioned, the warehouse culture was thick. There were so many warehouses, artist warehouses. I was really close with these guys in West Oakland called the Womb. They were a painter warehouse, the Womb as in World of One Mind.
Okay.
And they were all like psychedelic visionary painters. And so they let me teach over there. It was run by my friend Maddie. There was A Million Fishes in San Francisco. There was Candy Mountain. There were so many spaces. And I was just like, yeah, you guys, we need a place like this. And I had a dream one night that I walked into a space and I walked up a set of stairs and I walked into a big room with 3 windows and a balcony. The next day, one of the girls on my team, Jen, called me and she's like, I found your place on Craigslist.
Oh my God.
It was the space in my dream.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right. So the people at this time, so this place that I got was called the Noodle Factory. It is a legendary location. Prior to 2007, it was a rundown warehouse for artists run by this woman named Dana Harrison, who actually booked me for one of my first gigs in San Francisco in 2010. I didn't know all this at the time.
Full circle moment.
Massive full circle. And so she was running this artist warehouse from 2000 to 2007 or 8. And then it was just art space, parties, events. And then I guess they lost funding or they weren't able to finance the space. And so they had to move out. And at that time, the North California Land Trust bought the building and remodeled it into 11 live-work artist studios and a big performance center. And so their vision from 2008 to 2011 was that artists were going to live in those studios. However, those studios were like kind of fancy and like no artist could really afford that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's in West Oakland, so like it's not really fancy, but they were like, you know, this is 2010 costing like $2,000 or $3,000. So, you know, and the idea was that artists would live in there and use the performing arts center there was like part of the building. They would get to use that and do shows in there for free. However, in 2011, the North California Land Trust put the building up for auction for $1.1 million, which is a massive steal for that kind of thing. This company called Urban Green Investment swooped it up and they were like, we're getting this.
Mm-hmm.
And when they saw the empty performing arts center, they were like, we can rent this out.
Yeah.
They put it online.
On Craigslist?
Yes.
Yeah.
My friend Jen found it.
Uh-huh.
I went there. I told them what I wanted to do. I was like, I want to open an aerial school here, the 20-foot ceilings. We're going to do the aerial school. I'm going to turn my students into performers. We're already a performance troupe. We're going to do shows. I'm going to rent the space out to other people and we're going to live here. And they were like, we totally believe in your vision.
Right.
I had no money. I did have a good credit score because my parents taught me to not spend money I didn't have.
Okay.
Yeah,
T.
which I mostly did, but not completely. But anyways, my credit was good. And so they gave me the space.
The whole thing?
The Performing Arts Center.
The Performing Arts Center. Okay. Not the Live Works.
No.
Okay.
So they gave me the Performing Arts Center. They started off the first 3 months. So basically the place was not completely finished. The floors had holes in them. There was no bathroom. There was no bathroom. There was a bathroom. There was no shower.
Okay.
And there was no kitchen. And so they, as part of the deal, they installed a shower for me. I later put in a kitchen, like a nice kitchen, official kitchen. And so for the first 3 months, they let me just pay the deposit off. The deposit was like $6,000. They let me pay off the deposit over 6 months.
Oh my God.
And they gave me the first 3 months of rent for just the cost of the deposit. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So that way I could actually afford to
to get it up and running.
Yeah. And so, funny story, once I actually signed the lease on that place, all the girls in the exotic tissue ballet dropped out.
Oh.
Yeah. So I basically did it alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had one roommate at the time that moved in with me there. It started off good, but she was not committed to the program. That is a whole nother story. And it was basically just me getting it going. And so, yeah, that's how that
sounds
got
terrifying.
started.
How did you manage to push how did you figure it out?
In stubbornness, you know? I really had no help. I really had no help. I really hadn't.
And it was like a sink or swim situation.
Exactly. Yeah. It was like, I'm doing this.
Right.
I had vision, and I had audacity and tenacity and perseverance and diligence. And I just pushed through. What I did was that I started once I got the floor painted and the place cleaned up, I put the space on Peer Space or something. And so I started renting the place out to small events and, at a cheap price.
Right.
Because I was like, hey, I have this kind of bare bones space. And so I started generating income. I moved in people to live there to help with the rent. I raised enough money to get my aerial rig installed there and buy mats. And I started teaching my classes. All my students moved over there. The classes started to build. And yeah, my first year was basically just getting it all set up. And then the second year was me getting out of debt. And then the third year I started to go in the black. Not very much, but I started to
get up there.
Yeah. And so that's how it's done. If you were to tell me now if I were to do something like that again, the answer would be no.
Oh my goodness, really?
I just don't think I have it in me to do that again.
Right, but there was a version of you that existed that was able to do that. And
not because it was just so much work. It was so much work. I sacrificed everything for my business. I sacrificed my health and well-being. I sacrificed my social life. I sacrificed the ability of doing anything outside of that. That was it. That was the only thing I could do. I would just now, if I was to open another business, I would want to have a plan. I didn't have a plan. I had no business plan.
Right. You had that you had that tenacity, right?
Right.
That motivation, and you had the understanding, and you had a clientele list.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And there was that. And
I had momentum.
How you had momentum.
I had momentum. And it's not like, I had no help, like zero, but I had no consistent help. Yeah. I had people that would come in and help, like other people. Like I remember I did a call out on Facebook and I'm like, hey, anybody that ever wants to do a workshop or event or anything or use the space, like if you come and volunteer like X amount of time, I will.
That is such a good tactic. That is
you.
so crafty to get some helping hands. Yeah.
So yeah, that was I had that space until 2018 August. In 2017, the ghost ship fire happened. You know about that? And so at that same time, my building sold. And the new owners just looked at me as like somebody they wanted out.
Yeah.
Even though I maintained that space. I put a ton of money into that place.
The
I cleaned
kitchen.
it up.
Yeah.
I cleaned it up. I painted it. I maintained it. I paid my rent in full on time every single month. You know what I mean? My partner, when we got together, he would help. Like there was an unhoused problem on the streets, and we would like talk to the people and be like, hey, you guys cannot be camping out right in front of our place. You know, like we maintained the block.
You were good tenants.
We were good tenants.
Yeah. But they didn't see it that way.
They didn't see it that way. So yeah, when the end of my lease came, they refused to renew it. Yeah.
I thought they were going to do that thing where they just like double the rent and then make it. Yeah.
And the whole thing is that I offered them more money. I was like, how much more money do you guys want?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Right.
I will come up with it. Because the business was doing good. Like, you know, I was profiting. Like, you know, and so I could have afforded more rent. They just weren't even willing. The woman that took it over, there's a whole article in KQED about it. I'll try to pull it up and send it to you.
Tea. Okay.
Yeah, massive tea.
Yeah.
Yeah, some guy like heard about it happening and he had known that the woman that bought it and he was like, this woman is not right. And he took this picture of me. He came to the temporary space I was in and took a photo of me like this. And put it on KQED. Yeah. The whole article and everything.
My God.
She was telling me like, hey, we want to make a community space that everyone can come to.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you want a place that everyone can enjoy? This is my place.
Yeah.
I rented that space to over 50 groups from like Camp Question Mark at Burning Man to MAPS, you know, to like do events to, I don't even remember, does various like fashion shows,
okay.
book clubs, comedy nights, like theater performances, opera, the SF opera. Like, you know, we were a community space. Yes.
Yeah.
And she took it away. And you know what? That space was empty for like 2 years after that. And then she got some new tenants there. And then the pandemic happened and they couldn't pay the rent. Yep. I would have figured out how to pay the rent during the pandemic, you know? So
she didn't know a good thing when she had it.
She didn't. And, but I also will say this, like, running that space taught me so much. And sometimes we talk about like, oh, should we get another space? And let me say, I am enjoying not having that responsibility right now. When I had that space.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. And that I was saying that like bulk of my income that was paying the rent and like supporting the space was live work, was people living there, residents. And I would like go in when I'd be alone and like have these deep like, oh my God, what happens if my roommates move out? I won't be able to afford the space. What am I going to do? I'm going to be homeless. I'm going to lose my business. I'm going to have to move back in with my parents in New York. Like I'm going to have to move with my sister. Like, you know? And I would have these like internal panics like at night or in various other situations. And so moving out of that space and taking my business from being, it's like at that time from 2012 to 2018, I would be like, oh, I run an aerial school and event space. But the truth is that I was running a live work.
You were running a live work. It had so much more weight than like what the Sky High is now, right? Like it was completely like a live work situation, and that came with a whole other can of worms.
Exactly. And so it's like, I would be like, I wanted to be running my aerial school, running my event space, performing, producing. But what I was mostly doing was dealing with roommates.
Right.
Putting out the space.
Exactly. Putting out fires that weren't necessarily what you had in mind when you first started this, it seems. Yeah.
So losing that space was sad in and of the sense that I now don't have like a permanent, I do have a studio, but I can't do like whatever events I want to do.
Right.
there.
The performances necessarily. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's not just like set up for that. But my business is supporting itself. Like I pay my rent for Sky High Auditorium with my classes, you know?
Right. You're not relying on the roommates. Yeah.
Exactly.
And that totally takes a weight off where you're like, you're sustaining, your own business is sustaining itself, and it doesn't have other factors that are, and when it comes to other factors, things can happen at any time. And I'm sure it takes a weight off your shoulders.
Massive. And also it's like, I am, the business, I think that people, when they start businesses, they think like, oh, the business is just going to whoop. For me, it's been like a very gradual. Extremely gradual. However, if I look at where I am now versus when I started, I went into debt. I was running like a live work, renting the space to whoever I could. I was trying to teach aerial classes, and I was, but like I didn't really have like a consistent clientele. People were kind of in and out and stuff. Versus now I have an aerial school. I have almost 40 students that come in and take class from me every week. I have 3 different levels of classes for silks and lyra. I have consistent students. Each one of my classes is full. That doesn't mean that they all show up every week.
Right.
But I'm not really taking new students. I think I kind of mentioned that I have a process for doing that. But that's all full. I've been able to fragment the business so that when we do performances outside of there, my partner Alex and I produce this event series called Dark Events. We fortunately have this venue called Fluid 510 in downtown Oakland that gives us a really good rate, lets us do our shows there. Those shows are self-sustaining. We're generating our income and our budget to pay our performers, to pay the rent from our ticket sales. We have a booking company. I'm actually like running a company where I'm actually booking performers to do gigs outside. Those guys are getting paid from the bookings, and then I have the troupe, and the troupe, it's like, we do stuff out regularly. Like we just did an assembly for an elementary school.
What?
Yeah.
Yay!
It was cute.
Yeah.
Where was that place? Belmont?
Okay.
Yeah. It went super well. Yeah, it went super well.
That is so nice. For listeners, y'all know this, but I'm an elementary school teacher. So I love that.
What grade do you teach?
6th grade.
Oh. Where's that?
Richmond.
Oh, really? So that's great. You like it over there?
I love it there.
That's awesome. So yeah, the kids loved it.
Yeah.
They loved it. They were at the end of it, like asking us for our autographs, and like it was really special.
That's so special.
We get to do things like that.
Yeah.
Like, we're getting so.
What's your next performance at Fluid 510?
So that is coming up this upcoming Friday, June 12th.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Is there still tickets?
Yes.
Okay.
There are
okay.
still
T,
tickets.
Then I need to see y'all there.
You need to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's called Dark Leather. Dark Leather, Dangerous, Dark Circus, Dark Leather, Dark Circus, and Dangerous Beauty. It's our variety show that is dedicated to the subcultures that are joined by leather. So like goth, rock, punk, metal, kink. And so we'll have like an opening photo booth and some vendors, and then it'll go into like a ambient performance demo, and then we'll go into a variety show.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That sounds so exciting.
Yeah, hopefully
that's
you
coming
can
up.
be
Yeah,
there.
I'd love to go. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What's the is there, do people dress like a certain way? Is there like a dress code
So
going?
you can wear whatever you want, but we do encourage people to dress with the theme. So dark leather, whatever that means to you, whatever of those subcultures that joins leather
Right.
that inspires you. You know, if you're more like a rocker or metal or, you know, more goth, like.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can wear whatever you want, but people typically will come inspired by the theme. There'll be some people that just aren't,
Okay.
of course, but our audience does like to like get festive.
Okay,
Yeah.
T.
It's super fun.
Yeah.
It's a small venue. I don't know if you've ever been there.
No, I haven't.
It's cute.
Yeah.
It's right downtown Oakland on like 14th or 15th, don't quote me on that, and Broadway. And it's run by these really nice guys that used to run Port Bar,
Okay.
which was like a pretty well-known gay bar. And they have a cool staff, and it's an intimate venue. So we sell like 100 to max 150 tickets.
Got it.
150 really fills the whole venue.
Space? Okay.
Yeah. So it's like ideal crowd is like 120. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You might catch
super
us there
fun.
then.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah.
I'll
That'd
send
be
you the
awesome.
link, and I'll also send you my code. And
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. This has been such an amazing interview. I just have, I think, really one more question.
Okay, sweet.
Let's see here. So if someone listening to this interview feels drawn toward aerial arts or even starting their own aerial arts school, what would you want them to know? Or what do you think they should do, their first steps?
Well, if they're drawn to aerial arts, they should come and find me. Sky High Auditorium.
Auditorium,
Yeah.
link in the description.
Absolutely. Link in the description. I would say do it. If you want to learn aerial, do it. Like, don't hesitate. Take a class. It doesn't matter how old you are. Doesn't matter what your body type is. It doesn't matter your background. Just try it out. You know, as forementioned, my student body is like age late 20s to early 60s. You know, everybody has a different background. Like, do it. You will gain so much more than just knowledge. You will gain community. I have seen my students go from being really like shy and insecure to being like confident. Not all of them, obviously, but everybody comes in with a different struggle. But I've seen massive transformations. I've seen massive transformations in people's proprioception and people's awareness of their body and their ability to move through space. Like, it will change your life. Doing aerial will change your life. Like, but find a good place. And like, if you go to a place, and first of all, it's all about the teacher. So you want a good teacher. Like, you want somebody that is personalizing their instruction. You don't want to go somewhere that just has a card and check you learn this skill, check you learn that skill, check you. No. That is that whatever, anybody can run their business anyway. That's why I run my own business. So I run it the way I want. But if you're another person and you want to run your business, that's your business. You know what I mean? Like, not my chair, not my problem. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
So like, find the right place. If the first place doesn't stick, don't think it's you. Like, if it's something you really want to do, keep searching until you find it. And if you never find it, then maybe It's not the right thing
for you.
It's not for everybody. It's really not for everybody. It's don't be thinking that then my other thing is don't be thinking that if you don't know aerial, you don't know aerial.
Okay.
Like,
interesting.
You know what I mean? If you've never taken an aerial class, you don't know anything about aerial.
Right.
So don't be going into an aerial class being like, I know what this is going to be like.
Right. Come in with an open mind.
Come in with an open mind.
Yeah.
Exactly. Come in with a very open mind. Remember to be patient with yourself. As I mentioned earlier, aerial is a language. It's literally like learning a new language. Like you have to learn the letters before you speak the words, before you can say phrases, before you can say sentences, before you can have a conversation. Aerial is a journey. Some of my students have been with me for 10 years, like the class that you came to, my students, that class itself has been going on for about 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
With the same people?
More or less.
More or less.
Yes.
Okay.
Some of them, one of my friends, Nikki, just joined the class recently, but she's been doing aerial for a long time, but just kind of off and on. And then, the rest of them have been in there for minimum 3 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Some of them had some experience before and others started in the beginner class and I moved them up. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then if somebody wants to open an aerial school, I would say that my mind is going like a million
or even just like
right now.
Or even just like their own business, for example.
Oh, you want to open your own business?
Or maybe
I would say do it. Yeah, you will work harder than you have ever worked in your entire life. But you know what? You're going to be working for your own dream.
That's true.
You will never regret it a day in your life. Any effort that you put into developing your own future for yourself, there will be zero regrets. But you have to be willing. There's things that you need to know. You need to be flexible. Like things are not going to go as planned. Like
case in point.
Yeah, exactly. You need to be flexible. You need to be dedicated. You need to be consistent. But I would say do it. Absolutely do it. Look for a mentor or at least an inspiration. My mentors were just people that inspired me.
Right.
The
House of Yes.
Exactly. The girls there, my first aerial teacher, Jordan, that actually was in town this last week and she took my aerial class.
Oh my goodness. That's so lovely.
It was amazing. We're also very good friends.
Oh, good.
We're very close. And she inspired just her life, just her existence inspired my whole business model. She never told me anything in relationship to that. I mean, maybe we had some casual conversations. Yeah. But it's like, find something that inspires you and then make it your own. That's the other thing I wanted to say is that the only person that you can ever be is yourself. So don't try to be somebody else. You can take inspiration from them. And when you do take inspiration from them, credit them. Be like, this person inspired me. I will always mention Jordan, even though she didn't directly do anything.
Right.
She just was. I will never forget her. I will never forget House of Yes. I will never forget Tiny Klein for the jaw hanging.
Right.
You know? Like with the chains, the first person I saw do chains was Jenny Atomic. Like, I'll never forget these people as my predecessors. And I think that that's really important. Stay humble. Like if you're starting a business, and you've never run a business, like you don't know anything about running a business. Like I made so many stupid mistakes my first 10 years running a business, like just to be real about that. Like they say mastery takes like 10 years or 10,000 hours or something like that.
Totally.
I mean, I don't know if anybody's wearing a watch and like checking on that, but like And so it's like, remember those things. But I'm a huge supporter of entrepreneurs. I've always known that I wanted to work for myself. I've always known that I needed to follow my own path. I will also say that it's not for everybody. And I have various friends that have started entrepreneurial projects and they're like, it's too much. They're like, I want a set paycheck. I want set hours. So know yourself.
Right.
Yeah. Like, know what you need. Like, get your needs. Like, play your own hand. Don't be looking at somebody else's hand and trying to take their cards. Like, figure out what cards you have in your hand and like get them organized and play them to the top, because that's the way you're going to succeed the most. But
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining on the pod today. This has been lovely. And of course, look out for Sky High Auditorium as well as their upcoming show. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening on this episode of the Hocicona Hour. A huge thank you to Drago Nesa for sharing their story and what goes on behind the scenes of so many of their projects. Make sure to check out their next show with Dark Events at Fluid 510 in Oakland, and follow her to keep up with the Sky High Auditorium, the Dragonettes, upcoming performances, booking info, and everything else they have going on. I'll have all of Drago's links linked down below. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow, subscribe, and share with someone who loves unconventional paths, performances, or aerial arts. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!